Hello students, now I am going to teach about demand function. What is demand? Demand simply means a consumer's desire to buy goods and services without any hesitation and pay the price for it. In simple words, we can say that demand is the number of goods that the customers are willing to buy at several prices during a given time frame. So, demand is the quantity of consumers who are willing and able to buy products at various prices during a given period of time. Demand for any commodity implies the consumer's desire to acquire the good, the willingness, and ability to pay for it. Now we are going to see that what is the definitions regarding that demand. Professor Hibden stated that demand means the various quantities of goods that would be purchased per time period at different prices in a given market. Demand function. So we have a function regarding that demand. What is that variables represents for demand function is dx is equal to f of px, ps, m, t and w. What dx says means the quantity demanded of good x. Px means the price of goods x. And ps the price of related goods. And m represents the money income of the consumers. And T refers to taste and preference of the consumers. So W refers the wealth of the consumers. When other variables constant, dx is equal to f of px. Other variables in the sense that is income, other related goods price, and the wealth of consumers, all variables keep constant. So the demand is determined by the price of the commodity. Okay. Next, we are going to see what are the characteristics of that demand. First characteristic is willingness to ability to pay. What it means that demand is the amount of a commodity for which a consumer has the willingness and also ability to buy. Demand is always at price. The consumer must know both the price and the commodity. Third characteristic is demand is always per unit of time. The time may be a day or a week or a month or a year. So the demand is always per unit of time. Next, what is law of demand? That law of demand states that the quantity demanded of a good shows an inverse relationship, indirect relationship, that is inverse relationship with the price of a good when other factors being constant. That is Marshall that defined that other things remaining constant in the words of ceteris paribus. It means that as the price increases, demand decreases. So other things being constant, that is ceteris paribus in economic terms, we can say that. And according to Professor Samuelson, what is demand means? The law of demand states that people will buy more at lower prices and buy less at higher prices. Other things remaining the same. Okay, this is law of demand. Next, we are going to see that diagrammatic explanation of the demand curve. And OY axis represents price and OX axis here horizontal represents quantity demanded, and the demand curve always inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. That is from left to right it moves downwards. You can see the diagram. Okay. Next we pass on to what is that the graphical represent. Already I told you what is demand curve. Okay, all these are explained in this graph. Next, the law is based on important assumption. What are the assumptions? That is important assumptions, namely other conditions remaining the same. The law assumes other conditions like availability of substitutes or complements, consumers' taste and fashions, income, price, remain constants. If these conditions change, this law does not hold good. Okay, clear? Next, we are going to see that what are types of demand schedule. There is two types of demand schedule, that is individual demand schedule and market demand schedule. What is individual demand schedule means? It is a tabular representation of quantities of a commodity demanded by an individual at a particular price and time, provided all other factors remains constant. What is market demand schedule? There is more than one consumer of a commodity in the market. So market, there are so many consumers. They are buying and selling of the commodity is happen in the market. So there is more than one consumer of a commodity in the market. Each consumer has own individual demand schedule. If the that is quantities of all individuals demand schedules are consolidated, that is added, we compiled, it is called a market demand schedule. Okay, next, that is the tabular column shows that what is the individual demand schedule. Yes, this is already said what is demand curve. What is the reasons? Next we are going to see that what are the reasons for negative slope of demand curve. Always the shape of the demand curve is negative slope. What are the factors that indicates that negative slope of the demand curve? First one is law of diminishing marginal utility. The law operates, the demand law operates by assuming that law of diminishing marginal utility. The consumer purchases more units of the particular commodity only if its price falls. And the law that is next reason is income effect. That is, at a lower price of the commodity, there is a great demand for the commodity by the households. So next, it depends upon the substitution effect. The price of meat, for example, the price of meat falls and the price of substitutes like poultry, that is chicken and beef, remain constant. The demand for meat increases when the price falls. Okay, this is called substitution effect. So next, entry of new buyers and different uses and psychological effect also indicates the reasons for negative slope of demand curve. Clear? Next, we are going to see that what are the importance of law of demand. It determines the price, then it is useful to the finance minister, and it is importance to the farmers. So good or bad crop affects the economic conditions of the farmers. If a good crop fails to increase the demand, the price of the crop will fall and the farmer will have no advantage of the good crop, and vice versa.